Hello and blessings, my beautiful souls. Avalon here, and today I'm going to talk to you about my tarot depth year. Yes, this is the first year that I have considered doing a tarot depth year. I have been feeling incredibly overwhelmed by the hoarding that is happening within the realm of tarot and oracles at this very moment in time. It has just exploded. Absolutely exploded in every direction, in every culture, in every country. Just so many decks and people buying decks, which is a beautiful thing. I love it. When you find a deck that you like, of course, you're going to acquire it. That's a beautiful thing. As a collector, as a reviewer, and as a professional tarot reader, however, I am overwhelmed with the number of decks that I'm using, and I feel that they are stagnating on my shelf at this very moment in time, which was never my intention. Yes, I am a collector, so I understand that they will sit upon my shelf forevermore. I get that. But I still don't want to be that type of reader, that type of collector that never uses what they have. I have decks that was gifted to me or I bought years ago, absolutely years upon years ago, and they are still unwrapped. Why? Like, why? Why? I'm never going to sell them. These are decks that I care about. So why haven't I opened them up? And sometimes it's been a bit about the fact that I've had too many to look at, I've had too much to do, I've been too busy, etc., etc. But that's not really the point of it. Like, I want to use my decks. I want to put them to good use. I want to enjoy their beauty. I want to enjoy their artwork. I want to do the deck justice. I'm not just going to sit here buying deck after deck after deck after deck and then just leaving it be. It's getting a bit sticky and icky for me. So I've decided to just focus on the decks that I have in my collection. Now, keeping in mind, when I say that I'm having a tarot depth year, this does not mean that I will not be unboxing new decks to me. Because I still have so many that I haven't unboxed, that I purchased last year or 10 years ago, and I'm going to get them out of their box. And I'm going to play with them. I'm going to enjoy my collection, and I'm going to focus this year on absolutely enjoying the collection that I have. Now, I'm very lucky in that I get sent a lot of decks for review. I get sent a lot from publishers and what have you not. But I still plan on being very discerning this year with what I take on board and unboxing what kind of resonates with me, where I have control, that is. Where I don't have control, that's a totally different story. But I do plan on really honing in to some of the decks that have been in my collection for a while, that were once like crown jewels of the tarot world and that nobody talks about anymore. It's almost like the popularity game in tarot is so fierce that these decks, you just never see them. You just never hear them being talked about unless you are reading blogs from OG creators that have been around for a while and they're still using their decks. You know, you just don't see them, especially not on social media like this. And so I've started doing shorts featuring some of these decks that are a part of my collection, and thus far I've done the Housewives Tarot. You'll all remember how the Housewives Tarot was just so popular, and I've done the Silent Tarot, which was a gift from a subscriber created by the Silent Citadel, which was absolutely gorgeous. I've also done the Crystal Visions, which I loved that deck. I remember it. I remember it. I remember ordering it. I remember getting it. I just remember being absolutely enamored by it. And this was years ago, absolutely years ago. I've done the Lovers Tarot by Chris Walder, which I've had in my possession for a really long time. And it's just such a beautiful deck, so classically beautiful. I've done the Tarot of, oh no, I haven't yet. I plan on doing a couple of others. I'm not going to tell you which ones yet, but have a look at my shorts if you're interested in some of these older decks that have been around for a little while, because there are so many gorgeous decks that still hold up. Like, they are still rocking, they still hold up, and yet they just get eclipsed. And I feel very sad. I feel very sad for these decks that just get forgotten. Once so popular, then relegated to the dusty corners of somebody's shelf. That's definitely That's definitely the vibe here. Dusty corners of my shelf. I'm not a great duster anyway. However, there is a certain sense of mindfulness. That's where I'm going for. I'm really focusing on healing and mental health for myself this year as well. And a lot of the materialism that I get sucked into around tarot is really unhealthy for my brain. I don't need to have all the decks. I don't need to have all the new decks. I don't need that. I need to have the right decks, the beautiful decks, the ones that resonate with me. And I've just got to just shift my perspective a little bit, you know, and understand that in the past, I have benefited from stepping out of my comfort zone, and I've found some really great decks that I might not have necessarily resonated with, but that have proved to be incredible decks, great readers, and, you know, and I'm really grateful for that. And that I think comes from being gifted a deck. I've been gifted so many decks over the course of my tarot online history, and I've got to say, some of the decks that I have been gifted are like tried and true ride or die favorites to me to this day. And I want to give them a little love. I want to give them a little attention. And I want to start using some of these old favorites, and I want to start, you know, like reconnecting with the magic of these decks, because I find that decks from the past, I'm going to sound really old now, I find that the decks from like 6 or 7, 8, 10 years ago, they are made of different stuff. The vibe of those decks are totally different. They are a little grittier. They are a little bit unabashed. They are a little less PC. Still respectful, still cool, still awesome, still great information, but just a different vibe, a different energy to these decks, which I personally love. And you know, I'm here for it. I'm just here for this experience. I really want to focus on the beautiful titles that I have in my collection, and I want to share them with you as well. And I'm going to rehash some of the oldies and just practice a little gratitude for the collection that I have. And folks, I have a very large tarot, oracle, Lenormand, Kipper card collection. It's large. It's so big I could never do a This Is My Collection video, not even in like 10 parts. I have lugged decks around the world with me. I have a very, very large collection. I really don't need any more right now. What I do need is space. If anyone wants to donate me 3 shipping containers, I will happily accept. Maybe 4, because then I can have a library. But that's where I'm at the moment. I just want to play around with what I've got, and I want to stop acquiring more. I feel like I'm hemorrhaging money at the moment in all different directions just because I want it. Oh, that looks great. I want it. Oh, I saw it in a video. I want it. I used to do this thing that was a lot calmer, and this is when I first started my channel, and that is I had a tarot wish list, because I had this thing. I was in possession of this very valuable, you know, experience, this very valuable trait, and it was called self-control. I had a lot of self-control, maybe because I was tired, maybe because I had small children and my needs were different back then. But I want to be back in that headspace of control. I want to start creating wish lists. And what I did when I created those wish lists is I would let them sit there and see if I was continuously called to some of these decks. Some decks I'd put down on this wish list because I saw them on social media and I wanted it immediately. It was I must have, you know, that kind of reflex. And then it died down, and even when I saw images of this deck circulating, I didn't really feel that much of a pull to it anymore. It was just a reflex, an initial excited reflex. And so what I want to do is start creating wish lists again, and you know, and really enjoying where I'm at with my collection, really putting my deck into practice. My decks to good practice. You get where I'm going with this. It's been a bit of a day. But yeah, my very first ever tarot depth year. I never thought that I would do a depth year, which is really ludicrous considering how I feel right now. I was always headed in this direction. You know, I love tarot. I love oracle. I love collecting. I love the act of collecting. I'm a Taurus, so of course I do. And I'm materialistic. And because of this, I need to be very vigilant with that tendency of mine, with that compulsive, impulsive sort of side of myself. And so I need to be a little bit more responsible with my collection, with the space that I have to store my collection. I don't just want to buy decks that I shove them in boxes and put them in a, you know, in the shipping container down the bottom and just never look at them. You know, that's not really where I'm at with this. I love my decks. I love using my decks. I love the experience of working with tarot, of working with oracle. Every deck has a different voice to me. Every deck is attuned in a different way. Every deck holds a wisdom. The artwork, the words of the guidebook, the sentiment, the feeling, the vibration, the energy of every deck. It's a lot. And if you stop to listen, it's a loud space. So I really do need to focus in on the decks that I have. I'm still going to enjoy receiving decks and I'll still unbox these decks, but I'm going to be featuring here on my channel some of my favorite decks and really talk about, you know, decks that I still use for shadow work, still decks that I use for love readings and relationship guidance readings, and decks that I use for healing work, decks that I use when my mental health is a bit skewy because I am neurodivergent. I do suffer from anxiety. I have some, you know, some things that can deter my flow, put it that way. And, you know, I want to talk about the decks that I use for business and for creativity and for parenting and for magic. And, you know, there is a deck for every occasion. Yes, there is. And so that's where I'm at. Tarot Depth Year 2024. I'm here for it. Give me your thoughts. Are you doing a Tarot Depth Year? Are you doing a depth year of any kind? Because I love the idea of it. I really do. And I'm keen to catch up with some people that are on the same vibe. So let me know. And with all of that said and done, my beautiful souls, I shall talk to you again very soon. Much love. Many blessings. See ya.